Yeah, so it was just really interesting because me and my mom were walking through the old city of Jerusalem, and we ended up going into this one synagogue in the Jewish quarter, synagogue being like the Jewish version of a Christian church. And as we get inside, we see that there is this religious Jewish man sitting in the middle of the synagogue, and he's busy at the small table, and he's busy doing some Hebrew writing. So we end up going up to him and asking him what he was doing. And he tells us that he is actually busy writing out the Torah scroll, which the Torah is the first 5 books of Moses. In the Old Testament, this is known as the law and instructions of God that he gave to the Jewish people. Also, it's not written on a book, it's actually written on an entire scroll, which is amazing, which is really big as well. You can find one in every synagogue, basically all over the world. Then we started asking him a little bit more about, the process of writing out this Torah scroll, and what it entails. So he basically starts opening up to us, and he explains to us, first of all, the only person that can write a Torah scroll is known in Hebrew as a ish tzedek, which is a righteous man. And a righteous man, much like the high priest in the first and second temple, a righteous man is basically someone who needs to be without blemish. It needs to be someone in their community which is known to be, for lack of a better word, perfect, without sin, obeys all the commandments of the law of God, of the Old Testament, of the first 5 books of Moses. His whole life is dedicated to living his life out perfectly without sin, so that he would actually be worthy enough to write out in the first 5 books of Moses. In the Torah, there's a lot of God's name. And in Israel and the Jewish religion and Hebrew, they're not even allowed to write down or pronounce God's name because of the commandment that God said, do not use my name in vain. So, in order for them to write this name in the Torah, they have to be completely, sin-free and without blemish, so perfect that they are worthy enough to write down this name in the Torah, which then eventually ends up in these synagogues all over the world, especially, in Jerusalem and the old city and so on. But then we started asking him about the stuff he was using, because we didn't even see a pen or anything there. We just saw this big, this big piece of what we thought was a paper. But then we looked closer, and he explains to us that no, it's not paper. It's actually the cow hide. It's cow skin that they use to write on, that they've bleached. And he showed us that you can actually still see the pattern of the black and white from the cow, from the color of the cow's skin afterwards. Even after it's bleached, you can still see some of it. There's even still little hairs on there and everything. It was absolutely incredible. So then I asked him, well, how do you make a scroll out of this? Because I always thought a scroll was just one long piece of paper, but obviously being a cow skin, he shows me this, the thread that he was using. The thread that he uses is actually made from the tendons and sinew of cow muscle, like from the cow tendons. And the needle that he uses is a cow bone that they've obviously sharpened and made into a needle. So everything from making this Torah, these 5 books of Moses, known as the law of God, everything that they use is completely natural. And then when I asked him about the ink, he says that the ink is made from pomegranate juice, which pomegranates symbolize the commandments, 613 commandments in the Old Testament. There's not just 10. And then it's a mixture between pomegranate juice and wine. And wine obviously is known as, the blood of Yeshua. So the mixture between the law of God and the blood of Jesus, who died for us on the cross and, came to fulfill the law, not abolish the law, but came to fulfill the law, and obviously to set us free, set the captives free as well. A mixture of that is actually the ink that they use. And then what they use to dip into the ink is a turkey feather that they've sharpened as well. So with all these ingredients, I ask him, well, that's absolutely amazing. How long does it take you to write a Torah? And then he tells me that it takes him a year to write all 5 books of Moses on the cow skin, a cow hide, on a scroll that basically ends up in these different synagogues. And so then my mom asked him, what happens if he makes a mistake? Does he have to redo the whole thing? Because previously I heard that if they do make a mistake, then they have to redo everything. So then he actually tells me that no, they do have a very sharp bone blade that they use to then scratch out the mistake that they actually made on top of this cow skin. But then he says if it's a really big mistake, what they need to do is they actually need to, take out that entire piece of cow hide that has already been stitched together with the rest of the Torah, with this tendons from the cow and the needle from the cow bone. So obviously that's how they put this entire scroll together, which you have to understand. So it's a bunch of different cow hides that have been stitched together to make a scroll. But then if he makes a really big mistake, he just takes out one of those entire cow hides and then he has to redo that, which sounds quite intense. But if you look at the supernatural and the spiritual metaphor behind it, you have to realize that he doesn't have to redo the whole thing after he made a mistake with the blood of Yeshua and the law of Moses on top of this cow skin. And the cow was actually known as the red heifer, which was the sacrifice that they had to make in the first and the second temple when they committed a sin. They had to, a sin sacrifice was actually a red heifer, it was a cow. So if you look at the metaphor behind it, when we as humans today being made righteous because of Jesus Christ, just like this righteous man, Ish Tzedek, was writing down, the Torah, much like as we who are righteous made in the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, write down the story of our lives on top of this cow skin, this cow hide, and we make a mistake, we don't have to redo our whole lives. We don't have to start from scratch because of the forgiveness of Jesus Christ. He became the red heifer for us. He became the sacrifice for us. And because of that, when we make a mistake, and even if it's a monumentous mistake, a really, really big mistake, God can literally just take out that chapter of our lives. In Hebrew, chapter is also known as a season and a period of time. So even if it's a season in your life that you've gone through, doesn't matter how many years it was, as God being God, He can literally just take out that piece of skin. He can take out that chapter of your lives from the book of life. And God being God, when God takes something out, when He forgives it and He forgets it, He completely forgives and forgets, unlike us as humans do. Which means that He can take out that chapter, completely throw it away, and start a whole new chapter in your life. He doesn't have to start your whole life from scratch. So just to be encouraged with that, never ever let this world put condemnation on you and define you according to your mistakes, your weaknesses, the sins in your life that you have committed. But let God define you who you are, and it's never too late for a new beginning in your life. And that's something that you just need to truly be encouraged about, because your story is not finished in the book of life, which the main author, like Paul tells us, is Jesus Christ, is Yeshua HaMashiach, who is still busy writing your story with you, not for you, but with you. And together with Him, you can accomplish anything. And it's never too late to start a new chapter, because just like this righteous man was sitting in the middle of the synagogue, he can take out that chapter and he can start from fresh. And God forgives and forgets, so never be defined from your past, but be defined by Jesus Christ, who is in your past, present, and future, which is exactly what the name of God means. So I hope that definitely encouraged you guys today. And just be blessed. Check out my website, SeanBoshoff.com, if you are interested in getting some more of my books, my teachings. I just released a new book, a daily devotional encouragement book from Hebrew Words for you guys. And definitely click on the donate button if you want to partner with our ministry. So shalom, God bless you, and know that with God all things are possible.